Hello there, this is Stormdog, film fanatic and amateur historian. My work has been published in many bottles thrown out to sea. Today I'd like to take a look at another Bond film, the follow-up to Thunderball, You Only Live Twice from 1967. Overall, it is the fifth film in the series, and up to this point, Connery had still been the only Bond. The film opens with a space capsule being eaten by another spaceship. After American and Soviet spacecraft both mysteriously vanish, the two superpowers blame each other, escalating global tensions. MI6 suspects a third party and assigns James Bond to investigate. To fake his death and operate covertly, Bond stages his own assassination in Hong Kong, dying in bed and a burial at sea. A sub picks him up from his coffin, and there is a surprisingly big office on the sub. He is then sent to Tokyo, Japan, which looks absolutely beautiful. These movies completely nail the locations and look like paradises. There, he teams up with the Japanese Secret Service agent Tiger Tanaka and Aki, a female operative. The movie goes out of its way to showcase a sumo event, thrilling Western viewers. I did notice a man get assassinated with a Fairborn Sykes fighting knife, which is a great touch. Bond sleuths around and has a good fight with a big bruiser in the bad guy's office front, leading to a satisfying, if small, gunfight compared to what the movie provides later. Bond continues investigating the different parts of the company, and we get another good gunfight, this time on the docks with some wonderful aerial camera shots. Bond uncovers a lead pointing to a remote Japanese island with some great helicopter stunt sequences and a mysterious organization, Spectre. There are a few instances of helicopter action, including Bond using a small one called Little Nelly, and it's got just as many tricks as his car does. He discovers that Spectre, led by the nefarious Ernst Stavro Blofeld, totally not a relative of Bond, is behind these spacecraft abductions, using a secret volcano base with complementary piranha pool to launch a rocket that captures the ships. The film's iconic volcano base, designed by Ken Adam, was so influential that it became a pop culture trope for villain lairs. It was built as a massive set costing $1 million, almost a tenth of the film's budget. The rocket used by Spectre to capture spacecraft was inspired by real 1960s space technology. The film's space sequences were praised for their visual effects, cutting edge for the time. The piranha pool was a real tank with live fish, though safety measures ensured no actors were near them. The fish were imported from South America, and their feeding scenes used meat to simulate the gruesome effects. Spectre's goal in all of this is to provoke a war between the US and, at the time, the USSR, profiting from the ensuing chaos. Bond infiltrates the base, allies with Tanaka's ninja force, a rare depiction of ninjas in Western cinema at the time, and works to thwart Blofeld's plan. With time running out, Bond must stop the next spacecraft capture to prevent global conflict. The ninja sequences, featuring Tiger Tanaka's army, were choreographed with input from real martial arts experts, including Masaki Atsumi, a renowned ninjutsu master. If I mispronounce anything in here, it is not out of disregard or anything like that. My brain is just kind of smooth. The training camp scenes were shot at Himeji Castle, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, adding historical authenticity to a very fun ninja portrayal. The film features a lot of exotic locations, high-stakes action, and of course Bond's classic gadgets, including the mini helicopter that I mentioned earlier. I looked it up and it's not technically a helicopter, but an autogyro, and as the franchise tried to be authentic for much of its time, was a real aircraft designed by Ken Wallace, who also flew it for the film. It was modified with fake weapons for the movie, but was still fully functional. The volcano set was built at Pinewood Studios, Lot 007 in England. Standing 120 feet tall and 400 feet wide, it was one of the largest film sets ever constructed at the time. The set included a working monorail, a retractable roof, and a full-scale rocket. It took 14 weeks to build. In the film, there's also a use of the little-seen gyrojet pistol, and Bond becomes an Asian man for a bit. It's a quintessential 007 adventure with, once again, a focus on Cold War tensions and Spectre's big grand schemes. It actually works as a good snapshot of Japanese culture and tradition. There is even a traditional Japanese wedding for Bond to help his cover as a simple Japanese fisherman. He does not look that convincing as a Japanese person, though. This is the first James Bond film to fully reveal Ernst Stavro Blofeld's face, here played by Donald Pleasence. His iconic scarred appearance became the blueprint for the character and inspired so many countless villain parodies. Weirdly enough, the script was written by Roald Dahl, the famous children's author of things such as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was his first screenplay, and he took significant liberties with Ian Fleming's novel, which had a much more somber tone and focused heavily on Japanese culture. The novel by Ian Fleming was inspired by his fascination with Japan, where he had traveled in 1962. The film kept some elements like the Ama divers, their female pearl divers, but shifted the plot to focus on bigger global stakes. The novel is a character-driven, introspective story set entirely in Japan. Within it, after the death of his wife Tracy in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which the film version of was taken out of order and made after the movie adaptation of You Only Live Twice, James Bond is grieving, depressed, and struggling with his duties. In the book, M sends him on a diplomatic mission to Japan to secure intelligence sharing with the Japanese Secret Service. The mission leads Bond to confront Blofeld, who is hiding in a castle of death on a Japanese island running a bizarre suicide garden where people come to die. Blofeld is disguised as Dr. Guntram Shatterhand, a recluse running a macabre garden filled with poisonous plants and animals, attracting suicidal Japanese citizens. Please, no Logan Paul jokes. The plot focuses on Bond's personal redemption and revenge against Blofeld. The movie, however, makes it a global affair and removes the more personal stakes for Bond. Bond is a broken man in the book, mourning his wife and failing at his job. His mission in Japan is a chance to redeem himself. He forms a deep bond with Kissy Suzuki, a former Ama diver, and their relationship is emotional and pivotal in the novel. The novel ends with Bond losing his memory because of a duel with Blofeld, and staying with Kissy unaware she's pregnant with his child. Fleming's novel was one of his last, written during his declining health, which influenced its melancholy tone, while the film reflects the peak of the Bond franchise's spectacle-driven era. Behind the scenes, Connery was growing tired of the Bond role during filming, partly due to intense media attention in Japan. This was his last Bond film before a brief return in Diamonds Are Forever. He also returned in Never Say Never Again, but yeah. The title song, performed by Nancy Sinatra, became a classic. It was originally offered to Frank Sinatra, but he declined, suggesting his daughter instead. Nancy recorded 25 takes due to her anxiety about following Shirley Bassey's iconic Bond themes from earlier. Composer John Barry reworked the song to suit her softer voice, and it became a chart hit, peaking at number 44 in the US. The director was Lewis Gilbert. He was born March 6, 1920 in London, England. He began as a child actor in the 20s and 30s, appearing in films like Dick Turpin. He transitioned to directing during World War II, starting with documentaries for the Royal Air Force. He gained prominence in the 40s and 50s, directing British war films like Reach for the Sky, a biopic about pilot Douglas Bader, and Sink the Bismarck. His grasp of action and drama made him a natural fit for large-scale productions. He was chosen by Bond producers Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman for his experience with these types of films. Gilbert embraced the franchise's shift towards grand spectacle. He worked closely with production designer Ken Adam to create the iconic volcano lair. Filming in Japan, of course, presented logistical hurdles, including cultural misunderstandings and Connery's growing frustration with the Bond role. Gilbert managed these tensions while delivering a visually ambitious film. The film was a commercial success, grossing $111 million worldwide, though some critics noted its departure from Ian Fleming's novel. Gilbert's work solidified the Bond formula of gadgets, exotic locales, and over-the-top villains. He was brought back for The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker, both with later Bond Roger Moore. These two films both had big spectacles with an underwater base and a space station. I also want to mention his directing the war film The Seventh Dawn. He died from natural causes on February 23, 2018 at the age of 97. The lead, of course, was Sean Connery. By the time You Only Live Twice was filmed, Connery was growing weary of playing James Bond. Having portrayed the character in 4 previous Bond films, he felt typecast and constrained by the role's demands. The action sequences, such as those with the Little Nelly, helicopter battle, and the volcano base climax, were physically taxing for him. Connery performed some of his own stunts, adding to this strain, though stunt doubles handled the more dangerous scenes. Filming in Japan brought intense media scrutiny, and he was mobbed by fans and press, with photographers following him constantly, including incidents like being photographed in a bathroom. He reportedly became short-tempered from this, felt his privacy was invaded, and this just all added to his overall discontentment. Connery expressed frustration with the repetitive nature of Bond's character, feeling the scripts, including this one, lacked depth for him as an actor. He was particularly vocal about wanting to explore other roles to avoid being defined solely as 007. Because of all this, he had a strained relationship with the producers, Broccoli and Saltzman. He felt underpaid compared to the franchise's massive profits, although reportedly earning $750,000 plus a percentage of profits for this film, but believing his contribution warranted more. This financial discontent contributed to his decision to step away after this film. He did get along well with co-stars like Tetsuro Tamba, who played Tiger, and Mae Hama, who played Kissy, but his interactions were professional rather than deeply personal. Mae Hama faced challenges during production, nearly being replaced due to the language difficulties, and Connery reportedly supported her staying in the role. Akiko Wakabayashi, born December 13, 1939 in Tokyo, Japan, played the Bond girl Aki, who works for the Japanese Secret Intelligence Service. Originally, she was cast as the near-silent Kissy Suzuki, a character originally from the book. However, Wakabayashi switched roles with Mae Hama, who was struggling with her English lines. This gave her the dialogue-heavy part of the Agent Suki, which she suggested renaming Aki, meaning autumn in Japanese, symbolizing her brief but poignant presence. She learned English in just 3 months for the role. Neither she nor Hama could swim, so Sean Connery's then-wife, Diane Cilento, doubled for their underwater scenes. She rose to prominence during Japan's golden age of cinema in the 50s and 60s, starring in numerous films, particularly Toho Studios' kaiju movies. Wakabayashi's career spanned from 58 to 71, after which she retired due to injuries sustained on set. Some of the big kaiju movies she was in are King Kong vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, where she played a prophetic princess with mystical abilities, and Dogora the Space Monster, a sci-fi thriller involving a diamond-devouring alien entity. Wakabayashi retired abruptly in 71 after sustaining injuries during a film production, as she revealed in a rare 2007 interview with G-Fan magazine. Mae Hama, born November 20th, 1943, also in Tokyo, played Kissy Suzuki, who pretends to be Bond's wife for his cover. She was also known for her Toho movies. She was in kaiju movies like Mothra as one of the tiny twin fairies. I know there's a specific name for them, and I can't remember it. but that was a recurring role in later Mothra films like Mothra vs. Godzilla, King Kong vs. Godzilla, where alongside Akiko Wakabayashi she played a supporting role in the big blockbuster crossover. And both were in the Japanese film that became the footage that Woody Allen used for What's Up, Tiger Lily. She retired from acting in the early 80s to focus on family and personal interest. Tetsuro Tamba, born July 17, 1922, played the part of Tiger Tanaka, Bond's contact with the Japanese secret intelligence. Also born in Tokyo, but to a family with ties to the imperial court, his father was reportedly the emperor's personal doctor. Tamba grew up during Japan's turbulent pre- and post-World War II era. After the war, he worked as an interpreter for the Allied occupation forces, honing his English skills and gaining exposure to Western culture. His career exploded in the 50s and 60s, where he became a staple in Japanese cinema, particularly in samurai films, jidaigeki or period dramas, and emerging genres like kaiju and spy thrillers. He starred in acclaimed films by directors like Masaki Kobayashi, including Harikiri, as a samurai advisor, and Kwaidan, an anthology horror classic. Tamba led popular TV series such as Key Hunter and G-Men 75, police procedurals that cemented his status as a household name in Japan. Later works included The Twilight Samurai. He was also in the film The Seventh Dawn. In this film here, Tamba's performance was dubbed by Robert Rietti. He passed away at age 84 in Tokyo from pneumonia in 2006. Karen Dor played the bad Bond girl. She was born in Wiesbaden, Germany. She began her career as a teenager, initially appearing in small roles while still in school. Her early exposure to acting came through dubbing foreign films, which honed her vocal skills. Married at 17 to Austrian director Harald Reinl, 30 years her senior, she adopted the stage name Karen Dor and quickly rose to prominence in German cinema. Dor was a staple in West Germany's popular crime thriller series based on Edgar Wallace novels such as The Green Archer and The Invisible Dr. Mabuse, often playing glamorous but imperiled heroines or cunning villains. She appeared in several adaptations of Karl May's novels, including Winnetou the Red Gentleman and Last of the Renegades, alongside Lex Barker and Pierre Brice, cementing her status in German adventure films. I talked about the first Winnetou movie in another video. After this, Dor starred in Alfred Hitchcock's Topaz. In 2017, she passed away at age 79 in Munich, leaving a legacy as one of Germany's most recognizable actresses of her era. The film was a commercial success despite marking the first decline in the franchise's box office trajectory compared to its predecessor, Thunderball. The film's high production values, including elaborate sets like the volcano lair and extensive location shooting in Japan, contributed to its increased elevated budget. The budget was about $9.5 million, making it the most expensive Bond film at the time. The worldwide box office gross was, as I said, somewhere around $111.6 million. The film earned from this approximately 11.7 times its budget at the box office. While profitable, the gross was down about 15% from Thunderball's $141 million. Some scenes, including an extended fight in Kobe docks and additional dialogue between Bond and Aki, were cut to keep the runtime at 117 minutes. These lost scenes have never been released, though stills exist in production archives. I love the Japanese culture in the movie, and the scenery is amazing. The sets themselves have so much effort and care put into them. The action sequences, especially the finale, have wonderful chaos with so much happening, but all clearly presented. Connery is still enjoyable as Bond. It's just a really fun movie. Currently, Amazon may be your best place to catch the film. Comment below with your thoughts on the film. Liking and subscribing greatly helps me with the algorithm. Until next time, this has been Stormdog.